Hello, Internet. Jesus loves you. My name is Cody, and this is the Christian News Show we do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with geeksundergrace.com. And a couple things before we get to the news. If you haven't yet, you should check out my vlog channel thing that I'm doing. I've only made a couple videos so far, but it's been a lot of fun. It's on a Facebook page, so that's kind of weird. Link in the description below if you want to check it out. And also, if you want to help support the show, there's a couple ways you can do that. First of all, you can just share this video that does amazing things, or right over here, you could actually help out financially. And the first thing that I want to talk about today are chimpanzees. You may or may not have heard, but a couple chimpanzees were given human rights the other day, and it got blown way out of proportion. I love what Lecrae said, which was, I'm pretty sure humans have a long way to go on getting human status. So here is what went down. See, there's this group called the Non-Human Rights Project, and they've been trying to give chimps personhood in terms of captivity. Other words saying we are dealing with some very highly intelligent animals, and putting them in kennels is wrong. And so a judge declared that they would be given the right to a day in court. And the terminology they use and the way that they did this actually gave the chimpanzees a human right. But the judge has now redacted that. They still get their day in court, but it is not going to be on a human level. And it's such a weird situation because I do not believe that chimpanzees should have human rights by any means. But yes, I do find that folding a highly intelligent animal like that into a cage is probably wrong. And next up, I want to talk about some LGBT stuff, specifically the Day of Silence. If you don't know what the Day of Silence is, people do it in middle schools, high schools, colleges. Once a year, you have a day where you are completely silent. Some people actually put tape over their mouths. And the reason people do this is to bring awareness about the people who are LGBT and are bullied because of it. That being said, when I was in high school, I did it almost every year. But the other day, I saw something called Day of Dialogue, kind of to compete with Day of Silence, and at first I was really excited, but then I realized it is not at all what I thought it was. So here's what I thought it was. It's obvious that it was a Christian thing. And so I figured it was a different day as Day of Silence, and then you would go around and you would just tell people about God and God's love. I mean, could you imagine high school if we had a specific day for evangelism? I just think that would be really cool. Sadly, this is not what it was. See, Day of Dialogue takes place during Day of Silence, and students are supposed to go into their classrooms and tell people why homosexuality is a sin. Now that, not the worst thing in the world, but it became this thing in some schools where the students were going to the lockers of people who were LGBT and posting Bible verses on their lockers. And not like John 3:16 or anything, but Leviticus. There was then harassment of the students themselves participating in Day of Silence, and people being attacked on their social media. Some people say, I have my right to my own opinion, but that is definitely a different thing than bigotry. Harassing students because they do not believe the same thing as you is not helping the world in any way. And apparently today is a day of rants, because our next story is a viewer requested news story about the Freedom from Religion Foundation. As has always been the case, Gideon's Bibles were being handed out to children. Now, disclaimer, the principal was helping handing these out, which I do see it definitely is a problem, and it was during class time. So I do understand that. Class time being interrupted to hand out Bibles, probably not a good thing. But in the statement they said, parents carefully instruct their children not to accept any gifts from strangers. The Gideon's practice of distributing Bibles to school children teaches them to ignore that guidance. This predatory conduct is inappropriate and should raise many red flags. So, handing out Bibles is predatory conduct. Now, I realize that Christians have the stereotype of being a bit pedophilic. That is a story for a totally different day. But handing out Bibles to children is not the same as offering candy out the back of your van. I am completely in disbelief of this. I mean, this is just a new low for them. From that, we go to the final story of the day, something that definitely freaks me out. A woman has died of botulism at a church potluck, 20 others in the hospital. This meaning that the potluck was actually poisoned. And I wanted to make a joke about the sanctity of potlucks, but it's really sad because there is so much distrust in the world already, and now you can't even trust your own communities. I mean, it is a dark time when you have to be scared of a church potluck. I mean, it is definitely a fallen world. Honestly, that drives me to be a better Christian. I mean, just when you look around the world and realize how much it needs Jesus, doesn't that just make you want to tell everyone? Hopefully you can be that light, or at least an ember in the darkness. Question of the day goes back to the monkeys. What are your thoughts on an animal having human rights? As always, please leave your comment in the comment section below with your answer. Make sure to check out geeksundergrace.com for more geeky content. My name is Cody Armour, bringing you Christian news in a not so boring kind of way every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In closing, let the haters say, let the Christians pray. To everybody, like, subscribe. I will see you later, and God bless.